I'm listening.
Was made aware of a lot of things that's going on with this contract, and I'm not happy about it at all with the whole 9 yards from the beginning up until now, and the back and forth with Maria, then the communication that was portrayed to Stephen, then back to my tenants, then back to Maria, then inconveniencing Mr. Fortune coming out here. It just has been hell and a horrific experience throughout this whole ordeal.
You may have to catch me up to speed on what I'm missing exactly, because I'm not aware of none of it. What's wrong with the contract?
Every from the beginning, from like I said in the very beginning, I have proof of my payments that I was sending to Mr. Fortune. Unfortunately, Mr. Fortune fell at home, hit his head. Then he had his nephew to start taking over his financial part and whatever else of his, needs that he needed as far as shopping and everything. It has kind of placed Mr. Fortune not in a way where he's back at his norm. He fell in and hit his head. As of today, he's having surgery for that. That's why all of this kind of made me upset. Now to go back and tell my tenants something different on you guys' part, where I just found out that was totally inappropriate.
What did we tell your tenants?
Number two, I explained to Stephen about my tenants just moving there and how I had a great relationship with them. To go back to tell my tenants that I refused to pay them any move out money was totally inappropriate.
Okay, first and foremost, Mrs. Tanya, that's an accusatory term. We've never told him that.
I have been nothing but transparent and honest, and I don't know why the heck you guys choose me to try to play me and downball me in this whole situation.
Can I chime in, Ms. Tanya?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay. So listen, first of all, I completely understand. If I were you, I would probably cuss everybody out and call it a day too. That's one. Secondly, it seems like there is a lot of things here involved that me personally, I wasn't aware of. That's one. A lot of miscommunication, okay, which I'm going to clarify right now. Okay. First and first, whoever told you that, even though Mrs. Fortune was supposed to come here, if Maria did email you of anything that we need to be with him, that's her fault. I can deal with her, because any title company can send a notary to wherever you are in the United States. You can be in, let's say he was stuck, which I've done before. Let's say he was stuck in a highway. The title company, they're required and they can send a notary at that highway and send you a different notary. They don't have to have everybody in one room. Now, I understand why he came here. It was more personal. I'm just saying there was no need at all to say, no, everybody have to be in the same place, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if...
That's the email she sent.
No, okay. So if you don't mind, by the way, I would love to get that, because here's the thing. I'm bringing them a lot of business. And this is not, it's not just you. Like the file we just closed on, which is on, I think is on Winner Circle, if I'm not mistaken. They did that same mistake with the seller where she called the seller. So we wire funds in. We wire about 56,600. Now, as you know, sometimes wires can get a delay. So the money hit next day. But in the meantime, I send my own personal funds. And she calls the lady and tell her, hey, we haven't gotten the funds yet, before even checking for the wire. And so the seller calls and think that we were going to let their property go to foreclosure because of a 16,200. I said, no, I already sent my personal funds to stop the auction already. As a title company, you're supposed, so me personally, the only reason I drive to that office is because of the owner of the office, which is I have a relationship with her. That's the only reason. Otherwise, all notaries come to me for any closing I do. I do a lot of real estate, even in Texas. I don't move a finger. I don't leave my office. The notaries come to my office at my convenience. That's what a title company is supposed to do. Number two, everything else I already understand in terms of the situation. I know it's not that on purpose. you fell behind or wanted to put the tenant in a situation. I can tell you right now in front of God and Mrs. Tanya, one thing I don't do is gossip. I do not gossip. So I can put you on the phone right now with the tenant. The tenant cannot repeat in front of you that I told him this. I've never went there and talked to him about you or your ex on any personal level. He told us things that he didn't want you to hear of what he's going through personally, cried in front of us and talked to us about how he got into the property, all the problems he's going through, blah, blah, blah. We went there trying to help him to get his next place, not to talk about you, not once. So if he says that, then I want to sit down with you and him. Then he told me a little bit about you guys' situation and certain things that he feel like it wasn't right that was done to him by you, which I'm not going to disclose here. It's up to him to tell you. You can ask Stephen. I told him in front of Stephen, I said, why don't you call her and have that conversation? That's not my place. I told him this is what I told him, Mrs. Tanya. I said, listen, I'm in a very difficult situation. Why? Because I have to make both an emotional and a logical decision here. The emotional one is I got to take into consideration what Mrs. Tanya is going through, because nobody just wakes up in the morning and let their house go to foreclosure. There has to be something she's going through personally. That's one. No seller out here that is going through foreclosure woke up and said, let my house go to foreclosure. Nobody does that. And also, here's what I'm telling you, and I will repeat that in front of him. We can sit down all three. We've never told him that. Not me, not Steven, because I was there. Steve was there at least when we went in face to face. Steve never told him anything negative about you, nor can he repeat that in front of me, because he keeps claiming he's a man of God. So if he told you that, that means he was lying about being a man of God. None of us told him anything negative about you, but we did sympathize about the situation he's going through and him crying about moving out, and also him feeling like he was disappointed by certain promises that was made when he got into the property. He spoke about the story, which I'm not going to disclose here. That's up to him to come to you and tell you that. I went there to make a very logical and emotional decision. Here's what I told him. I said, listen, I understand your situation, which is super, super sad. And I also understand your situation, Mrs. Tanya. This is what I told him. I said, but at the end of the day, I said, listen to me. Me, Mamadou, I guarantee you, if I take over this house, I'll give you the however months you need to move out. And then I said, I went back and spoke to Mrs. Tanya, and we convinced her to leave $3,000 in escrow for you, plus the $2,000 of this month you don't have to pay, which is $5,000 to help you out. That's the best I could do. This is exactly my terms that I told him, exactly the words that I used. Now, did I listen to him? Absolutely. He went on about everything, his family. So with that being said, because I do have I postponed another meeting since I had you on the phone. I didn't want to be, is there anything else I haven't addressed or that you feel like we need to go through? Is there any miscommunication you think like?
No, I just really want to go to Jamaica and get drunk and then come back and start this business with you guys. Like that is, I personally don't like to burn my bridges.
Absolutely.
Don't like to get peed off, because when you get mad, it can break off the blessings that
100%.
God has, because when energy is connected, my grandmother always say the devil tries to come and play patty cake between people. I mean, when they know there's something great to come in the future. So